everyone. Tina McGlynn with another episode of Life in Stories. And I am here with Sharon R, and she's from Washington State, which one of my very favorite states to visit. And we were just chatting, and we were talking about things we've done in our life. And you discussed the fact that you are known as the Queen of Courage. Welcome, and tell me about that.
Thank you, Tina. Nice to be here. I'm anxious to get my story out there because I think it will be inspiring to people. But we both took a class here earlier this year, and the host always asked us, what are we known for? Yeah. And as a result of that, I decided to start calling myself the Queen of Courage. And mainly because I have a book coming out in the next 6 or 8 weeks called Fresh Courage, the finding purpose of fresh courage in retirement, finding purpose, fulfillment, and essence. And I have always, in my book, I am full of, I love curiosity. I love possibilities. And a lot of things in life require courage.
Yes.
I did some topic discussions through texting on an app earlier this year for about 5 months, and courage was my topic. And then I had a chance to talk on courage to a Brazilian class of students that were trying to learn English.
Wow.
I'm an international speaker now.
Yeah. Now, was that on? I'm assuming that was online. You didn't travel to Brazil, right?
Right. It was virtual, and they were wanting to hear English, but they also wanted to try their English out. So a very unique opportunity. And they said my presentation on courage was the best one they've had.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. That is so unique. Good for you. Good for now.
So now I decided to take 2-minute snippets of Instagram daily to do turn that into Instagram postings. I did my 20th one today.
Good for you. That's awesome. That's awesome. And what's your Instagram handle?
I'm still kind of new at this. It's just Sharon Rolf 1.
Okay.
So Rolf ROLPH.
And I think if you wanted to, that you could actually change it once, I believe. I think if you wanted to add to it, I think they do allow that you can make like one change or something.
Okay, we better work on this, huh? Because I want people to find this queen here.
Yes.
So the other thing about feeling, I have all my career and even growing up felt invisible. And I'm learning that people in retirement often do find that they're treated as if they're invisible. One of my ladies that I talked to in a launch that I did, her daughter acted as if her mom didn't exist anymore because she didn't have a job.
Oh, wow.
And it didn't, like, your opinion or what do you want to do or whatever, didn't matter because you're invisible. And it really offended this lady.
Sure.
Well, my experience of being invisible was the middle children often do feel invisible. I was the middle of 5. My mom was the middle of 5. My dad was the middle of 5. But there was a lot of sexual abuse in my home, and being invisible was in fact a good thing. So it was kind of a safety measure that, thank heavens, they keep their hands off me,
Yeah.
But every little girl needs, that support and respect and honor and being seen. So I did that with getting good grades and obeying all the rules. So I didn't rock the boat. And but the other thing, Tina, is that I always like to learn. And so getting good grades but I was the only one in my family that went to college.
Oh, wow. Great. What a great accomplishment.
Yeah. But I picked up on this line that's kind of a comedian kind of line. People are outstanding in their field. Yeah, outstanding in their field. That felt like me. I was different. I was unique. Actually, I kind of like that, but that's my play on the benefits of getting a good grade, I guess. So,
and now where did you grow up?
I grew up in Eastern Washington on a 100-acre farm.
Oh, wow.
So I milked cows and stacked hay and gathered eggs. So, you know, on a farm, there's always lots of work to do.
Yeah.
And work often keeps us out of trouble too. So, but potential, I've always had this hot button for potential. And I realized very young that, you know, I didn't want to stand before God and say, you know, some of that talent you gave me, I buried it. Wrong answer. And I don't want that for anybody else. Yeah. And that's kind of the crux of why I'm doing what I'm doing today.
Okay. So definitely a passion project, definitely something that resonates not only with you, but probably a lot of other people. Because I'm thinking to myself, you said about being invisible. My mother-in-law, former mother-in-law, I'm very close to, she has often said that. She's 83 now, and she's often said that to me. And of course, because I don't treat people that way, and I embrace people who are older than me because they have such wisdom and such life experiences. So I could never discount someone, but I realized just listening to her that how often it happens, and it's kind of upsetting. So good for you to put this out and let people know that it's not right.
Well, this is kind of a little bit of a side, but I like sewing. That. I like color, and I like, you mentioned wisdom. This is my words of wisdom that come together in these little art blocks. And in my book, I'm going to have about a dozen of these smattered throughout my book. Daily do something that gives you health, happiness, and wealth.
That's great.
And there's something about how something of beauty processes in our head differently, and we seem to get it in our heart easier.
It makes an imprint.
Yeah.
It makes an imprint. And when is your book coming out?
In about 6 or 8 weeks. I was hoping to any day now to have a launch date, and I still don't have one. You know, they say the pandemic is slowing everything down, and
yeah.
I guess so. But one of the techniques I use with people is, this is from The Lion King, have you forgotten who you are? Yeah. You know, if you were a whippersnapper debater in high school, you might still be a good debater, you know?
Yeah.
If you were the jazzy trombone player, you might still be a jazzy. Just because you retired doesn't mean that you're, well, the thing about retirement is you're going from structure to unstructured.
Yeah. And some people struggle with that.
Nobody tells us we're the boss of our unstructured time now. That's a transition that, you know, the culture doesn't teach us about. So
I have to ask, are those quilt blocks that you're showing me? Okay.
Yeah, they can be.
They look, they looked like it. They're quite lovely. Oh, I like that one.
See, this is where courage comes in, is you following your feet or your heart. Yeah. Takes a lot of courage.
It does.
Being uniquely yourself. I'll never forget, Tina, walking into my boss's office at Boeing and showing him my art blocks, and scared stiff as to what he would think of it, because who brings art into Boeing, you know? But it's become my brand, and it's going to make my book a adult picture book.
Yeah. I love that, just because I have a love of color and fabrics and in art crafting, and definitely those little gems of wisdom, you know, those sayings that just resonate with so many people, and you can fall back, and it's all about your mindset too.
Yeah. Every book I read, I usually get couple nuggets out of that I can put on a little art block, but
And
so
what else? I
yeah,
would
the
say,
other
what
thing.
else are you doing with the book? Are you going to, how do I put it? Now I know you're doing podcasts, but is there like, I can just see you running a group.
Well, that I'm starting to cook on that idea that I have reserved the page and group name of Fresh Courage in Retirement on Facebook.
Great.
I haven't done anything with it, but I'm the next 2-3 weeks I'm going to plan out how to invite people to the group and maybe ask them a couple questions what brings them there, and then use my page to maybe do some ads or something. But eventually I can definitely see doing group coaching
Yeah.
on a weekly basis from a Facebook group.
Yep. Listen, I'm going to tell you just a real quick story. My aunt is going to be 90 this year. And I taught her how to use a computer way back when she was 77, spent her later part of her years before she retired in a bank. And when I think about what you're saying, and the thing is these days, technology is to the point where it doesn't matter how old you are because it's easily adaptable. And I want anybody who's retired, because it can open up a whole new world for people who are retired, right? And it's
Yes.
easier and easier to use these days.
Well, and I did my podcasts. I kind of finished in April, but I interviewed a lot of people, and the whole idea was to help us, all of us, think of possibilities and become curious again. When we're curious as a 3-year-old, nothing will stop us.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
And with Google search, you can find a lot of things that, oh yeah, this, okay. So here's an example. My first guest was a lady here that did volunteering,
Oh,
community services all around the world for a year. And
wow.
she fed baby lions. She rode elephants. She helped out at a baboon sanctuary, and fun stories that she tells from that.
That's
But what
awesome. Because life doesn't stop, right? Just because you're retired. Most people, many people, get entire new hobbies that turn out to be careers. And it's not like a job because they're actually doing things that they maybe wish they did, back when they were younger.
So, Tina, the easiest transition to make that one of my guests gave me was do what you did for charity. If
Yeah.
you were a bean counter, find somebody who needs some beans counted.
Yeah.
Or a pilot who needs something delivered, or people
Yeah.
delivered. So, in the process of you finding what else would give you purpose and satisfaction and meaning, would be to find somebody that needs what your service on a volunteer basis.
Plus longevity. They always say that if you keep your brain active and you keep your body active, that it goes a long way into longevity.
Well, that's the beauty of living with possibilities and curiosity is you have a longer life. If you're bored and watching TV 48 hours a week, you are starting to die.
Yep.
And dying may take 3 years, but folks, if you want to be around for your grandkids, you better keep living,
Yes.
because I intend to get it 100 and I'm already 73. So
There you go. Yeah, you're younger than my
yeah,
mother, so you're good.
yeah. So what makes
Yeah.
me different about being a retirement coach and so unique is I have a master's in behavioral science. So all the financial planners, they work with you on the numbers and the money. I do all that emotional transition
Yes.
of the leaving all your friends at work behind. Now being in charge of 24/7 time freedom. There's often emotional changes with, well, the change of either where you live or change of work. I wanted to, how do I know if I'm productive,
Yeah.
and, bouncing off the wall. And I realized that if I was living from my essence, from my inner wisdom, every day felt productive. And that's what I'm here to do for people
No, I love
that I
that. And I'm
coach.
thinking, loss of self-esteem too. A job is sometimes an entire identity. And
Yes.
yeah, so I
Yeah.
love that. And if somebody
Because,
wanted to, contact you about retirement coaching, how can they do that, Sharon?
well, I have two websites. My old website is effortlessvitality.org.
I kind of like
But
that.
yeah, effortless vitality. One of the first times I told somebody my title, they said, well, what does that mean? Living from your heart. If it comes from your heart, it's easy to do. You've always got the right energy. But I also have effortlessvitality.now.site. And
Okay.
that website, I've tried to implement or um, include some I believe statements. Like, I believe retirement needs to be disrupted.
Yes.
I
Yes.
believe that professional women still have a lot to give.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that people would resonate with what I believe and say, well, I think we're going to get along fine. I want her to help me with where I'm stuck a little bit.
Yep.
So, and my book will be, I have a landing page for my book already where
Oh,
you
great.
can pre-order.
Okay.
Fresh Courage book.now.site.
Great.
And let's see, on Facebook, I have Effortless Vitality
Okay.
page. And I'm going to soon be doing an Fresh Courage in Retirement as a group to do coaching, maybe on a weekly basis for
Oh,
people
good.
who want to, because what means is important to me probably doesn't resonate with you. We're all so unique, but we aren't often encouraged to think about our values and how are we living our values. And oftentimes there's a lot of frustration when we're not living our values. So that's one of the steps in finding your purpose is coming to grips with your values.
No, I love that. And for those of you that are listening on audio, just pop over to my YouTube page and I'll have all of Sharon's links. And, you can check out everything she's doing. And, if you're in retirement or you're getting close to it, you definitely probably want to connect with her and make sure that transition is a little bit less stressful. And Sharon can help implement some courageous acts into your next life is what I like to call it.
Yeah, because I think life is to be about living our joy,
Yeah.
about satisfaction,
Yep.
contentment, meaning. You look at people that live to 100 and they're vitally engaged in life.
Yep. Busy, productive, family, friends. Yeah. Always just, like you said, not sitting in front of TV and being mindless. You've got to keep your brain and body active. Um, but I will, I've got to look you up. I'm going to look everything up. And then again, over on my YouTube, check out all of Sharon's links. And thank you so much. Any last words of wisdom?
Yeah. I have Sharon Rolfe on YouTube also.
Oh,
I've
okay,
got
great.
my podcasts are out there, but I have sometimes given these little blocks and told, talk for a couple minutes about what they mean to me. But
Okay.
the other thing that a little story I want to tell you is that um, when shortly after I retired, I heard this webinar from Andy Shaw from the UK,
Okay.
who was doing a thing on mental strength. Who does that, And so
Yeah.
his story was one of his first techniques was when you're facing something you don't think you're quite confident or sure that you've got what it takes. He said, well, remember something that gave you warm feelings. So his story was he always wanted to learn to fly an airplane. And the picture he showed was of this 3-4-year-old boy in the back seat, and he got to give his son a ride in an airplane, and that filled him with such warm feelings.
Yeah.
Well, my story was when I was in third grade, I was a reader, one of 3 readers for the class a Christmas program. And well, how do you be a good reader? I started looking around. Okay, there's a pastor in front of the church. He's speaking, and there's people on TV speaking, and I figured out you need to speak up so people hear you.
Yep.
You need to speak slow enough so people could understand you, and you needed to look at your audience once in a while. So afterwards, there was 1 or 2 ladies that come up to me afterwards and said, I was their favorite reader.
Oh
man. And later I did, and I thought, well, why just have one good thing to remember, And when I did my Toastmasters presentation for competent Toastmaster, something similar happened where somebody came up to me afterwards, and I had some books standing on the table there, and one of my readers I just loved at the time was an interior designer. And when I pointed to the book, I also pointed to myself. I didn't plan to do that, but interior is inside, and they caught it. It was like a magical moment.
Oh.
So that was, I guess, where I started that transition from being invisible to the Queen of Courage.
Yeah, and very visible, in relevance. We're just
So
in the aging population too,
I intend to touch or impact 10% of the boomers, and either with my book, with speaking, or with coaching, because they need a new perspective on life, a turnaround, and I'm here to help them with that.
I love that. So the Queen of Courage, Sharon R from Washington, and check out all of her links over on our YouTube page. And I think you're going to be very happy in the next 30 years.
Oh, good. I've never married and never had kids, so I have a
there's no stress right there.
I have a expect a miracle plan. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you so much for listening. And this is Tina McGlynn with Sharon R and another episode of Life in Stories. Tune in next time and have a great day. Bye.